Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and a warm welcome to VALMIERAS STIKLA ŠķIEDRA Investor Conference webinar. Today we are hosted by VALMIERAS STIKLA ŠķIEDRA Chairman of the Management Board, Mr. Stefan Jugel. As always, we will start with company's presentation, after which we will hold a questions and answers session. If you do have any questions to the company, please type them in the questions box in the webinar admin panel zone. Mr. Jugel, I invite you to start the presentation.
Good morning also from my side. On behalf of the company, warm welcome to our webinar. I'd like to present to you today the 6 months figures 2019. I want to give you a short overview about the financial performance in the first 6 months comparing to the previous year. I'd like to give you an update on the recent events, and then I'm happy to answer your questions later on. So let's start a short overview of the company. For all of you who haven't heard about us or have no information about us, we are one of the leading fiberglass producers in Europe with a 56 years experience. We are integrated manufacturer of fiberglass, we are melting glass, we are processing glass from fiberglass yarn till finished fabric. We can look at a solid final performance since the last 22 years. We are since 22 years listed at the Nasdaq, and the company invested in the previous 22 years at 245 million. We are employing 1,326 employees in Latvia, UK, and in the US, and we're offering a wide range of products for our customers around the globe. We're having a unique know-how in thermal insulation, from thermal insulation till aviation and other markets. Our company is a well-established brand in our industry sector, and the industry itself is promising growth potential for coming years. Let's point out the highlights of the first 6 months 2019 to give you an update of what happened. The public offering we were promoting and presenting last year, we postponed due to the latest circumstances that the company in Latvia filed for a legal protection procedure, and the reason for filing the protection procedure was that our target is to refinance and reorganize our financing to ensure that the company group can sustainable growth for the upcoming years. During this process, we had to make the decision to suspend the phase 2 fiberglass operation in the US, which was our major investment in the last 2 years. And due to these circumstances, the company in the US, our daughter company in the US, where we're having a 52% stake, filed for Chapter 11 on June 17th. I can point out at this point that our phase 1 operation US is continuous production, continuous delivers cash flow to their own business at the moment as a shareholder of the company, and under the circumstances of Chapter 11 US, we as a shareholder don't have a full hand. We are not in the driver's seat of the process. This process at the moment is run by local management together with their legal advisors, credit committee, and secured creditors. We published last week our 6 months results, and as you have seen in the balance sheet, we made substantial write-downs in investments in the US to reflect the circumstances that we don't have the hand on this operation anymore, and to reflect the worst case scenario. We decided to write down our investments in the amount of 14.6 million euro. We also wrote down all our loans provided to the US facility from the last years in the amount of 79.5 million, and at the same time we add provisions for guarantees we gave to our US entity and its suppliers, in the amount of 7.1 million. So I can say at the moment all these provisions made are reflecting the maximum risk we're having with the US operation, so that our balance sheets is reflecting these debts, these risks, and we don't expect any additional risk coming from the US for our Latvian balance sheet and our UK balance sheet. Talking about the market picture is more or less the same as we had last year. Still our biggest market is thermal insulation with a share of 34% of our total sales, followed by raw material. We consider raw material yarn and other glass types we are selling to our customers, not downstream processed materials. We're talking about yarn and rovings. And third biggest market is still building on construction. Looking at the global side, still our biggest market is Europe with 63%. We comparing to last year, we have a growth of 8% in the European Union. Second biggest market are other countries with a growth of 70%, and third biggest market is North America with a growth of 82%. This reflects the first 6 months when the glass melting operation was producing in the US, and we had material to deliver to US customer. This is going to change over the next 6 months, this picture a little bit, as we're having not so much material for US customers anymore. In general, we see a strong fiberglass market, and the indications we're getting from customers and from the market is that this is not going to change so much during the upcoming next 18 months. Talking about our performance, I compare a little bit Q1 and 6 months results, but I want to concentrate on the 6 months results. We had a net sales of 70.9 million euro for the group. As you can see, 48.3 million for Latvia, 12.8 million UK, and 80 million in the US. The company had an EBITDA, or the group had an EBITDA of minus 1.17 million euro. If you look at the separate entities, Latvian entities is in budget, is on track with a EBITDA of 8.7 million. UK as well. UK is over plan with an EBITDA of 1.8 million. And as you can see, the major minus in EBITDA and net profit is coming from our US facility. This is stopped now. These losses are stopped now, and under current circumstances with the write down, and as we're having not a hand anymore on the US facility from months of July, we not consolidate a US facility anymore. So that this loss from the US, the 11.8 million, will stay at the same level. The net profit in total, we are talking about minus 7.4 million. As you can see, Latvia and UK are contributing a reasonable net profit, and major losses are made in the US. If you're comparing this, our sales, then you can see in the first 6 months, the sales level in Latvia is more or less the same than we had last year. UK is over plan and over the budget, over the actual figures from 2018, and also US had to grow as in 2018 we didn't have the operation fully as we just started the first half year 2018 US operation, but this is going to be changed in upcoming next 6 months. If you look at the key financial indicators, you can see Latvian and UK business is stable, is profitable, is more or less in line with the previous years, and the big declining in profit is coming from our US facility. Short overview about the 3 years financial indicators. Net sales of the group grow by 16%, as we had in the first 6 months this additional capacity in the US, which is stopped now. EBITDA is far behind our previous results, and is reflecting 6 months losses of the US. Same with EBIT and same with net profit. These are figures sure we are not happy and shareholders not happy about, but we are now quite confident that these losses are stopped, and I'm gonna give you later on an outlook on by the end of the year, and we are quite confident that we can this turn around and with stop of losses in the US, and we by the end of the year can present better results. Update on the recent events, and I think we're going to have some questions about our legal protection process. We filed legal protection process for Latvian entity June 17th, according to Latvian insolvency law, but legal protection is not insolvency. We had 8 weeks time to find a settlement with our creditors, with our financiers, and this period we prolong for additional 4 weeks till September 19th to get the paperwork done. We are planning to send out our recovery plan and to our creditors for approval latest today. And yes, and we are quite confident, but I'm gonna answer some questions later on, that we're gonna get approval by our secured creditors and also unsecured creditors. I can give you the message today that we have a quite strong support from our suppliers, from our unsecured creditors during this period. And as you can see from the financial performance, the company is strong, the business is strong. Latvia and UK is generating sustainable cash flow, and I don't see any reason why either secured creditors or unsecured creditors or court should reject this legal protection plan, which shows that the company is coming out of this debt situation during the next 24 months. We are planning to publish our audited consolidated financial statement for 2018 till October 31st. At the moment, we are working with our auditors to get these figures ready. Sure, there are questions from auditors about going concern, a question about impairment, and sure, auditors feel more comfortable to wait till the court approved the recovery plan to give their auditor's opinion. We are respecting this, and that's why we prolong this period and postpone the date for this publishing. The project with the FPO we postponed due to these circumstances. I think more for the company than the shareholders would be beneficial to do now this capital increasement and publish the shares. This postponed is not postponed forever, and our target is still to come to the main list, Nasdaq Baltic main list after legal protection, and start this project again as soon as possible, and soon environment and company figures give us a chance to do this. We had some changes in the board, in the management board of the company and supervisory board. Sure, we as a management want to use this LPP, this settlement with our creditors also for the restart. That's why we had major changes in the board positions. We are now just a board of 3. My opinion as a chairman of the board is enough capacity for the time being to run the business and to do the right decision for the companies. From 1st of August, we have a new board member responsible for sales of the group, sales, procurement and product management. This is our long-term colleague Ingo Bleier, who used to be responsible for product management in the group, who's joining now the board team, responsible mainly for sales, and his main focus at the moment is sales, keep customers on track, inform customers about the special circumstances, and give confidence to our customers, and employees. This is my short presentation about the figures. On purpose, we show you the figures of the companies separately between Latvia, UK, and the US to give you a full picture where we are in Latvia, where we are in UK, and where the problems were coming from. And now I'm happy to answer your questions.
Thank you for the presentation. The first question that we have received: when are you planning to replace the existing glass melting furnaces with the new ones? How big investments will be necessary to achieve that?
Yeah, first of all, we're having with the US operation 5 furnaces. I don't know which furnace you're talking about. I think in the last presentation I show you the planned furnace repair, but I can repeat this at the moment. We are planning to repair our furnace number 3, this is our silica glass furnace, in November this year. And the next furnace repair is planned for furnace number 2, end of 2000, beginning of 2021. And then at the same time, we're working on restarting our furnace number 4, our little experimental furnace in Latvia. We're working on this, but we didn't set a specific date for a start of this furnace.
Thank you. About creditor approval of the legal protection plan. Having in mind the confidentiality of the details, perhaps you still could elaborate on the potential effect of this process on shares and shareholders. In specific, will creditors be offered to receive Valmieras Stikla Šķiedra shares by capitalizing the debt? It could be done either by issuing new shares or by existing major shareholders giving up their own shares.
Okay, this is more than one question. Let's start with the legal protection process. In general, the process like this, that we have to receive 2/3 of the votes from secured creditors, which is in our case 100%, because we are talking with 2 banks, and 50% of the vote from the quorum of the unsecured creditors. No decision is made for a conversion of shares or debt to shares. Actually, this we are not having in our plan at the moment. We're talking at the moment with first of all with our existing banks to restructure our financing and prolong, talking about principles. I think we're having a settlement which is also supported by the shareholders, and sure, the plan is going to include some additional equity. For this, we have capital increasement approved by shareholder meeting, but no decision is done, no contract is signed so far, and so we're working on all 3 channels. We're talking about senior debt, talking about equity, talking about other financial instruments to increase equity of the company and bring the balance sheet in shape. Talk about dividends according to legal protection law in Latvia. During the 24 months, we are not allowed to pay any dividends to shareholders, to pay any bonuses to management, supervisory board, to do any donations. So all cash flow generated by the company has to go to creditors. One has to go to balance sheet to improve balance sheet and creditors position.
Thank you. Can you give any details on what arrangement with creditors you are seeking in the LPP, or this legal protection plan?
Yeah, first of all, the target is to give the company enough financial freedom to run its business, to do its investments necessary to keep the production level high. In our case, means we're talking about lowering the principal payments, having at least during the legal protection time of 24 months, having a freedom, having a stable partner on our side, to have free freedom on the finance side. This is the major targets. Sure, there are going to be some preconditions set by our finances which we have to fulfill. So we have to work on the US side, maybe to sell the assets in the US to have a cash flow back from the US to our balance sheet to lower our debt level. There will be some conditions, and sure, creditors will set some conditions to attract new equity, which is done our duty as a management to attract new shareholders to increase our equity level.
Thank you. There are no questions at this moment, so let's wait a minute longer to see whether we don't get any new ones. So we do have one more. What sales price are you expecting for the US assets?
Actually, I can't say specific sales price because this process, first of all, is run by the corporate management. They hire an M&A advisor, which made a tender, which contact, I think, over 100 interested parties or potential interested parties, and we have to wait for the first indications to get the first offers and to see what can be potential sales price. For us, most favorable would be to keep these assets and maybe have one day the chance to start this furnace again. But during this process, as I said already in chapter 11, this is a different setup and not so favorable setup as we're having in Latvia. This process is run by court, unsecured creditors and creditors committee. But sure, we're expecting at least a middle two-digit sales price if finding interesting party.
Thank you. It seems we have managed to answer all the questions that were submitted. Thank you for the presentation. Participants, thank you for joining and thank you for asking your questions.
Thank you also from my side, and we are happy. I'm also happy to receive questions by email under the special circumstances and during the special times. Thank you very much. Thank you for your interest in our company. Thank you for investing in our company, and we're looking forward for the next webinar.